important, brother. We need to donate generously, brother, for the sake of Islam and for our future as well. Because when we leave the world, what we will take with us. And all the Sadaqah Jariyah, mashallah. Thank you, young man. Allah bless you. Sadaqah Jariyah is so important for us. Everything ceases, but one thing doesn't go, Sadaqah Jariyah. Constantly will come to you. If you're in Barzakh or Illim, it continue to give to you, brother. It's come to Barzakh, Allah. Yeah. Big hand, mashallah. Allah bless you both, young man, to become pious. We need you, brothers, to donate generously, please.
So remember, Umar he sets out to go and kill the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And then this Sahaba, he warns him, says, look, you need to check your own sister and your brother-in-law have converted to Islam. You need to go and fix them. So Umar was very angry. He said, how come my own sister is now taking this new religion, new way of life? So he rushes to their house, and there was one of the companions, and they were reading Quran, teaching his sister and brother-in-law Quran. And this was from Surah Taha. And then he listens to it and he says, what is this? And there's a piece of material that the Quran is written on. And he gets very angry and he hits his sister until she bleeds. And he hits his brother-in-law lots of times. And he says, look, how dare you leave the religion of our forefathers of pagan and idol worship? And after that, he notices that there is a piece of paper or a parchment that has the Quranic verses of Surah Taha on there. And he wants to read it. And his sister warns him, says, no, you're not pure because you're not a Muslim. You need to go and purify yourself to read this, because this was from the Quran. The Quran was not in a book at that time, but it was in pieces. So he goes and he purifies himself. He comes and he starts reading the verses of Surah Taha. And subhanAllah, as soon as he reads them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about himself and the glory and how he created things, and he listens to it and he says, how come this is something amazing? This has to be the correct religion. And subhanAllah, so he, instead of now going to kill Muhammad, he's now saying, well, I want to embrace Islam. And so he says, I want to see Muhammad. He wants to go and to accept Islam. So instead of going to kill the Prophet ﷺ, he wants to go and now accept Islam. And so the Quraysh people who thought that this guy will save them to finish off the religion of Islam, now this person, he converts, he goes to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ had made a dua beforehand. And so Umar, this great anti-Muslim, raised kind of a person who was very against Islam and Tawheed, he converts to Islam and he becomes a Muslim. MashaAllah, so he converts, and as soon as he converts, he's very excited and he goes to all the different houses and he says, he knocks on the doors and he says, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Muslim. And then he says to the Prophet ﷺ, why are we praying? At that time, the Muslims, they were very quiet, very few numbers, and they would not go in publicly and announce their Islam. And he said, Prophet ﷺ, can I go to the Kaaba and shall we go and then announce that we're Muslims? And remember, he was huge, he was like massive, no one would dare to fight him. So he went out on the streets, the Muslims, 2 rows of Muslims, they went to the Kaaba and they announced that they were Muslims. And everybody now was very, very worried. This was the biggest warrior at that time, who was an idol worshipper, and he had converted to Islam, and nobody would dare to go and attack him by themselves, because he was so huge. Remember, he was big, strong, and he was very powerful, and that this person who the Quraysh thought would stay with them and protect their idol worshipping religion had actually converted to Islam. SubhanAllah. So see what happened. So this person who was really bad, was into all these evil things, had become and had accepted the Islam, the true religion, because he saw that the verses of the Quran, the miraculous, because himself was a poet, was educated, and he converted to Islam. And subhanAllah, so this is like a very brief summary. Now, during Umar radiallahu anh, remember that he became the Khalif after the Prophet ﷺ had passed away, and Abu Bakr had become became the Khalif. And then Umar radiallahu anhu ruled for about 10 years. Okay, and at that time, remember, the Muslims were not the superpowers. At that time, the Roman Empire was the leading empire in the world, and the Persian Empire were the leaders ruling the world. And what happened? Umar radiallahu anhu, with the Muslim armies, during his 10 years of rule, had conquered Rome and had conquered Persia and defeated those empires. They were the superpowers. But the Muslims, under the rule of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, had conquered those two empires. Okay, and then what happened? Jerusalem also was under under non-Muslim rule. And who was it who opened up Jerusalem? Masjid al-Aqsa that we know on Quds. It was through Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu. And the story of how modest he was. Remember, Umar became at that time the Khalif, the leader of the Muslims. They had defeated the Romans, Persia. He was the leader, and then now they were going to Masjid al-Aqsa in Jerusalem to take the keys, because those people there had now conceded and said, look, the Muslims are very powerful. We are now, Jerusalem will become the headquarters of the Muslims. And so they were going now. Umar ibn al-Khattab, they had one horse and another small donkey, and he had a slave with him, or his person who was his helper, and they were taking turns to ride the horse. And as soon as they are coming towards Jerusalem, at that time, it was the time for the slave or his companion slave to ride the horse. And so everybody says, oh, Umar ibn al-Khattab, you are the leader of the Muslims. You shouldn't be walking on the small donkey. You need to be on the horse. Because we're going to enter and we're going to take the keys, and Jerusalem will become the capital of the Muslim empire. And Umar ibn al-Khattab, and they said, look, and at that time the historians, they said he was the leader, but he wasn't living in a castle or a palace. His house was very modest, and he was wearing clothes that had 17 stitches and rips and things in it. So he was very modest. He at that time had so much money. The Muslims were the leaders. He could have had many different clothes and different garments, but he decided to live a very modest life. And so one of the reports, they say, his companions, they said, look, Umar ibn al-Khattab, you're the leader. You're going to Jerusalem, and they're expecting a leader with amazing clothing. So they said, go, wear some new clothes, put these clothes on so that you're respectful. So he listens, he goes to the tent, he gets changed into new clothes, he comes out. And then he goes back out and he says, no, this is not befitting for me. I am a slave of Allah. It doesn't matter what I wear. And he gets changed back to his rags, the worn clothes with the holes and rips and stitches. And he goes to the patriarch, who was the leader at that time of Jerusalem, and they hand over the keys. In this fashion, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he takes the keys of Jerusalem, but in a very modest way. And he walks and comes not on the horse like a leader, with those entourage, with the bulletproof vehicles. No, he just walks simply, and then he takes, because of his humbleness. Okay, and subhanAllah, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, the great companion. We have so many different stories of amazing events that happened during his lifetime. Okay, that we don't have time today. Let me give you one example. Remember, this is now, think about the superpower, the leader, the king. Okay, this is what Umar Khattab is. So what does he do when he's the Khalif and the leader? During the night time, he goes to a house and he knocks on the door, and there's a blind lady. So what does he do? He takes some food for her, he cleans her house. So imagine, this is the head of the state. This is the leader at that time of the whole world. That the most powerful man that could live on the earth at that time was Umar ibn al-Khattab. And they had so much money in the Bayt al-Mal, and they were in control of vast lands. And this is the same leader in the night time. He goes around and goes to the house of a blind woman. And she doesn't know who he is. He goes there, cleans her house, leaves some food. And one of the other companions follows. He wants to know what's going on. He doesn't know. So he knocks on the door of the lady's house. He says, who comes to you? The lady said, I don't know. But there's a person that comes in the night, cleans my house and leaves food. And that companion said, he realizes that this is the same person, Umar ibn al-Khattab, the leader, the king, the leader of the superpower of the world at that time. How humble he was. And from that position, he would go and do chores to clean someone's house, and to give food. And because he was humble, okay, and he was becoming, he was of course a very powerful person. And I want to give you one more great story of the time of Umar bin al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, that, and this is really should make us think, and this is why I want you to leave the message today of how Muslims should be, of the power of Iman, of being a Muslim. What does it mean to be a Muslim? And what does it mean to love a Muslim? And what does it mean to forgive? And what is so important of being a Muslim? One day, and this is the rule of Umar bin al-Khattab, there is a couple of brothers, they drag in this young teenage boy, and they say they bring him to the court because Umar al-Khattab was the ruler and the qadi and the judge and everything. So they bring him and say, why have you brought this boy? He says, this young child, young teenager, the two brothers, they say, he killed our father, and we want a life for a life, eye for an eye. We want this boy to be killed and executed because he killed our father. So then Umar bin al-Khattab asks his boy, he says, did you really kill their father? He says, yes. He says, but it was by accident. He says, I was there, and the old man threw there was a camel that went into the farm of the old man, and he was moving around. The old man hit a stone into the eye, and the camel was hurting. And I saw that this was cruel. So I took a rock and I threw it at the old man. And the old man died. But I had no intention to kill him. So Umar bin al-Khattab, he says, and at that time, life for life. So he said, this is what you did, and the boys, they want you to be executed and killed in the place of their father because you killed him. And the boy says, okay. And so Umar bin al-Khattab passes the death sentence on the boy, and he says, do you have anything to say? Do you have any last wishes? Because we're going to kill you because you killed a life. He says, yes, oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, please give me 3 days. Give me 3 days. I need to go. My father has passed away. I have a young brother, and my father has buried some treasures and some money. Give me 3 days to go and dig this treasure and give it to my brother, because when I'm gone, my brother will have nothing. Umar bin al-Khattab, he says, he doesn't know this boy. He thinks the boy will escape. He's making up the story to escape. So then the courthouse is full of people. He says, okay, boy, you can go for 3 days, but I want a guarantor. I want a person. If you don't come back after 3 days, that person will be executed in your place. And everybody now is scared. Everybody looks their face down. Nobody wants to be the guarantor. Nobody knows this boy. Is he going to just escape after 3 days? And one of the great companions, Abdul al-Ghafari, he puts his hand up and says, I will be the guarantor. If the boy doesn't return in 3 days, you will execute me. Umar bin al-Khattab says, okay. And this was a great companion, one very practicing, pious Muslim. So what happens? The boy leaves. 3 days. Okay, the first day, nothing happens. Second day, nothing. The boy is nowhere to be found. On the third day, it's Asr time. And remember, Maghrib time is when the day finishes. And the two brothers, the father was killed, they go to Abu Dhar and say, Abu Dhar, come to the courthouse. We've got a few hours left. The boy, we haven't seen the boy anywhere. If he's not here, you're finished. You're going to be killed in the place of the boy. And so Abu Dhar says to everyone and to the boys, wait. The day doesn't finish until Maghrib. And so everybody's waiting. A few minutes before it's Maghrib time, the boy comes. He comes back. And everybody's surprised. Says, little Umar bin al-Khattab asks the boy, says, how come? I didn't send any army. I didn't look for you. We didn't, you came by yourself. How come you came? And the boy replies that I, as a Muslim, I gave my word. And I didn't want anybody to say that I broke my word. That as a Muslim, that I keep my word. So I came back to honor the word that I gave. And then Abu Dhar, Umar bin al-Khattab, the leader, said, oh Abu Dhar, how come you risked your life for this boy? You knew nothing about him. He could have just escaped. He says, I as a Muslim, I didn't want anybody to witness and to say when a Muslim was in need, that there was no one to help him. That I as a Muslim, I wanted to vouch for this boy. And I wanted to say, no one could claim that when there was a Muslim in trouble, no one else came forward. So I came forward and I give my promise to help this Muslim in need. And subhanAllah, the people. And what happened to the two brothers? And so Umar ibn al-Khattab, he turns to the brothers, now, do you want this boy executed? And the two brothers say, subhanAllah, if we have people like this in the Ummah, that the boy who keeps his word as a Muslim, the other Muslim who helps his Muslim out, gives his life, how come the boy who asked for forgiveness? So the boy is asking, there's two options, either the boy is executed or he's forgiven. So the two brothers, they say, when a Muslim asks for forgiveness, how can we not forgive him? When we have Muslims like this in the Ummah, how can we say to execute him? So the brothers, they forgive them. Because they forgive the little boy. They say, no, you are forgiven. We don't need you to be executed. When we have Muslims that honor their word, that give the life for somebody else, how can we take your life? And the boy asked forgiveness, and they said, we forgive you. We don't want the life. We give you forgiveness. And so they forgive him. And subhanAllah, the courthouse and the people are, in tears. And this is subhanAllah, something amazing, because the Muslims, how amazing they were at that time. And they will keep their word. If they promise something, they will never break it. And when a Muslim was in trouble, somebody else would save them, would come and say, yes, this is my Muslim brother. Whether he's of whatever sect, whether he prays, whether she covers, it doesn't matter. The Muslim has an honor, the love that we have. La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. That this is the bond, and this is what is amazing at the time. And this is what the Muslims were. And today we have become weak. And this is some of the events of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Once we come back after Salah, I will describe also amazing how the great Umar ibn al-Khattab, how he died, and the amazing character and what happened during his death. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to remember and understand from the person who was zero became the great hero. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين والدعاء فاصل صلاة, and then we will go for our lunch, and then we'll come back to continue our program. جزاكم الله خير. بارك الله.